Pizza Hut is trying out a new weapon in its competition with arch rival Domino's: delivery that can be tracked like Uber.
You walk into Pizza Hut craving that warm, cheesy slice that feels like comfort food in a box. The red logo, the smell of baked crust, the dripping cheese, it's familiar, almost nostalgic. But what if that piping hot pizza was hiding more than just extra calories? What if that melt-in-your-mouth cheese was stretched with wood pulp? What if those toppings were engineered in a lab and cooked in a kitchen employees wouldn't eat from themselves? Because behind the red roof and catchy deals is a darker reality. Fake ingredients, shady suppliers, underpaid workers, and chemicals you'd never expect on a pizza box. And while you're busy deciding between stuffed crust or pan, Pizza Hut's quietly serving you shortcuts, substitutions, and secrets they hope you never notice. Stick around, because one of their former suppliers was caught doing something so disturbing, the company cut ties fast, without ever warning their customers. When you think of Pizza Hut, chances are that gooey, stretchy cheese is one of the first images that comes to mind. It melts across every slice, clings to the crust, and pulls apart like a commercial dream. But here's the thing, that cheese, it's not exactly what you think it is. In fact, the stuff that ends up on your pizza might be closer to a science experiment than a dairy product. Pizza Hut's shredded mozzarella contains not just milk, but a combination of modified food starch, anti-caking agents, and cellulose, which is a fancy way of saying wood pulp. Yes, actual processed plant fiber is used to keep the cheese from clumping. While it's technically edible, it's also not nutritious and definitely not something you'd sprinkle on pizza at home. Some blends have been found to contain up to 10% cellulose filler, which means part of that glorious cheese pull you see is made from fiber that would normally belong in a cardboard box. And that's just the beginning. To extend shelf life and cut costs, some Pizza Hut locations rely on frozen cheese products that are pre-blended with emulsifiers and synthetic preservatives. These ingredients can include sodium phosphate and sorbic acid, compounds used to prevent spoilage, but also known to cause digestive irritation in sensitive people. You're not just biting into mozzarella, you're biting into lab-approved elasticity and chemical stability. Sure, it still melts. It still looks like cheese. But when a significant portion of that cheese is more about texture than taste, you have to wonder, what else are they quietly cutting corners on? Next up, we're diving into the meat. Because if the cheese isn't all it seems, wait until you see what's really in that pepperoni. It's crispy, spicy, and the most iconic topping on Pizza Hut's menu. But that layer of sizzling pepperoni sitting on top of your slice might be hiding more than flavor. It might be one of the most processed meats you've ever eaten. While Pizza Hut markets its toppings as premium and hearty, the truth is, their pepperoni is often made from a blended mix of pork, beef, preservatives, and chemical curing agents that stretch the definition of real meat. Start with the basics. Most fast food style pepperoni is a restructured meat product, meaning it's not sliced from a single cut of meat, but built from ground scraps, fat trimmings, and binding agents. This mash is then treated with sodium nitrite, a chemical that gives it that bright red color and keeps it from spoiling, but has also been linked to cancer in long-term studies. Add in BHA and BHT, two preservatives banned or restricted in parts of Europe due to health risks, and you've got a topping that delivers on flavor, but not on safety. It gets worse. Several former Pizza Hut supply chain partners were found in the past to be using unregulated meat trimmings sourced from lesser-known facilities. In one leaked inspection report, a supplier tied to multiple fast food chains, including Pizza Hut, was flagged for storing meat at unsafe temperatures and using expired animal byproducts in their blends. The supplier was dropped after public pressure, but Pizza Hut never publicly addressed the quality of the meat served during that time. It all begs the question, when you're biting into that salty, crispy slice, are you tasting quality or just a mix of chemicals and shortcuts disguised as pepperoni? And if you think the meat is sketchy, wait until you find out what's hiding in the sauce. Because next, we're peeling back the label on Pizza Hut's secret list of additives. And what's not printed on the menu might shock you. You've seen the commercials: bubbling cheese, spicy pepperoni, rich tomato sauce poured slowly over a golden crust. But the part you never see? The ingredient list. Because Pizza Hut's menu may read like a simple recipe: dough, sauce, cheese. But the reality is far more complicated. Hidden inside every slice is a cocktail of industrial-grade additives, preservatives, and synthetic chemicals you'll never find printed on that cardboard box. Let's start with one of the worst offenders, TBHQ, short for tert-butyl hydroquinone. It's a petroleum-based preservative used in Pizza Hut's flavored oils and some crust seasonings. In lab studies, TBHQ has been linked to tumor growth in rats, vision disturbances, and immune dysfunction. You won't see it listed on the front of any menu, You won't even find it called out on most ingredient lists unless you dig through Pizza Hut's official allergen guide online. Then there's MSG, sometimes present directly, other times hidden behind clever aliases like yeast extract, hydrolyzed soy protein, or autolyzed yeast. It's used to enhance flavor and increase your craving response. It tricks your brain into thinking the food tastes richer, more savory, more addictive. Even the sauce is treated with maltodextrin, a sugar-like substance that spikes your blood sugar while helping processed ingredients stick together better. And we haven't even talked about the flavor oils, a mystery mix of artificial butter flavors and stabilizers that keep crusts soft on the outside while remaining shelf-stable during long delivery runs. These ingredients aren't chosen for your health, they're chosen for profit, preservation, and appearance. And if you're wondering how employees feel about preparing food packed with unpronounceable additives and chemical fillers, well, some of them have spoken up. And what they've revealed about the behind-the-scenes prep might make you rethink ever walking into a Pizza Hut again. Because up next, we're pulling back the curtain on what actually happens behind the oven doors and how cleanliness, food safety, and shortcuts play a role in every single order. On the surface, Pizza Hut kitchens might look like well-oiled machines, pizzas sliding into ovens, workers in red uniforms, everything crisp and clean. But former employees have described a very different picture. Behind the oven doors, they say, it's often chaotic, under-maintained, and at times downright unsanitary. Let's start with the dough. It's not always fresh. Multiple ex-workers from different U.S. locations say they were instructed to use expired dough if it didn't smell too sour. Others claim that pans weren't properly cleaned between uses, just wiped out and reused with leftover grease or cheese crusted on the sides. One former employee said, "We just spray the burnt cheese with water and scrape it off. That was cleaning." It gets worse. In some stores, food prep surfaces weren't sanitized between raw and cooked ingredients. Vegetables like onions and peppers were sometimes left uncovered in walk-in coolers overnight. Several workers admitted that they'd been told to reuse toppings from pizzas that were returned by customers. One worker said, if it wasn't touched or looked okay, it went right back in the bin. Then there's the rush hour madness. During peak times, managers pushed employees to skip safety steps. Gloves weren't changed. Food sat in warmers far beyond the recommended time. And when inspectors weren't scheduled, cleanliness often meant just wiping down what was visible, never lifting trays or scrubbing under equipment. And what happens if an employee speaks up? In many cases, they're told to fall in line or find another job. But the pressure doesn't stop with food safety. Because if you think the kitchen is messy, wait until you see how Pizza Hut treats its people. Coming up next, stories of overworked crews, stolen wages, and the mental toll of surviving a shift inside the red roof. While customers enjoy hot pizza in under 15 minutes, the people making it are often pushed far past their limits. Pizza Hut may advertise itself as a family-friendly, opportunity-rich employer, but behind closed doors, many workers describe their time under the red roof as grueling, thankless, and exploitative. Let's talk about pay. In many franchise locations, cooks and cashiers start at minimum wage, or just above it, despite juggling multiple roles at once. Former workers describe being expected to prep ingredients, run the register, mop the floors, and fulfill delivery orders, all while keeping up with corporate timing goals. Some team members have reported working full shifts without breaks, forced to eat standing up between orders or not at all. Worse, there are growing reports of wage theft. Employees say they were asked to clock out early but keep working, especially during cleanup or last-minute rushes. Others describe being shorted on overtime, with hours mysteriously vanishing from digital time cards. In some cases, this led to lawsuits, franchisees caught altering hours or failing to meet minimum wage requirements. Then there's the emotional toll. Many workers speak of toxic management, where speaking up about unsafe conditions or unfair treatment is met with retaliation, like fewer shifts or sudden disciplinary write-ups. Some described being so overwhelmed during dinner rushes that they cried in walk-in freezers, only to be told to shake it off and smile. One employee said, "It felt less like a job and more like surviving a storm every night." And all of this happens while the company continues to rake in billions, spend millions on ads, and promise a better pizza experience. But Pizza Hut isn't just controlling the back of the store. It's also controlling what customers see, feel, and believe, especially when it comes to their so-called value deals. Because next, we're exposing how Pizza Hut uses subtle pricing psychology and rotating promotions to make you spend more than you think, without even realizing it. Every time you open the Pizza Hut app or glance at their store menu, you're met with bold fonts, mouth-watering photos, and big promises. 5 and up lineup, new, value box, limited time deal. It all looks like savings. But here's the uncomfortable truth. These offers are carefully designed not to save you money, but to nudge you into spending more without even noticing. This is called menu psychology, and Pizza Hut has mastered it. Take the $5 lineup. You can't just order one item. You're required to order at least two, making it a $10 minimum commitment before taxes and fees. That deal pushes you to add extras you didn't originally want, just so you don't feel like you're wasting the deal. Then there's price anchoring, intentionally placing more expensive pizzas above cheaper ones so the mid-priced option feels reasonable. For example, a $19 stuffed crust pizza makes the $13 medium pan pizza seem like a smart buy, even if it's more than you plan to spend. They also use decoy deals like adding $1 wings or desserts, knowing most people will toss them in without thinking. It feels like a bonus, but it's just a psychological upsell. Limited time offers are another tactic. By constantly rotating menu items, then pulling them away, Pizza Hut creates artificial scarcity. That triggers a fear of missing out, leading to impulse purchases you didn't plan for. It's not just marketing, it's behavioral manipulation, backed by consumer psychology research and data tracking your order patterns. And while you're busy debating crust types and combo deals, your brain is being subtly trained to crave the experience again and again. Because Pizza Hut isn't just using pricing to guide your choices, they're also using chemistry. Up next, we're breaking down how Pizza Hut designs its food to trigger cravings that go beyond hunger, and why your brain might be hooked before your first bite. Think about the last time you craved pizza out of nowhere. No hunger, no plan. Just a sudden need for melted cheese, chewy crust, and spicy pepperoni. That wasn't a random craving, that was flavor engineering at work, and Pizza Hut is using it to make sure your brain keeps coming back for more. Fast food giants like Pizza Hut hire food scientists and chemists to create what's known as hyperpalatable food, a carefully balanced formula of fat, salt, sugar, and artificial flavors that hits the brain's bliss point. That's the sweet spot where your taste buds light up, dopamine surges, and your body says, "I want more." The more frequently you respond to those signals, the stronger the connection becomes. Over time, this doesn't just create satisfaction, it creates habit. Pizza Hut's crusts are often brushed with flavored oils that contain synthetic butter or garlic notes, designed to activate smell receptors the moment you open the box. Their sauce is boosted with sugar and acids that create a punchy, tangy taste, triggering both sweet and savory cravings at once. And the cheese? It isn't just about texture. It's engineered to melt just right and deliver that gooey payoff your brain remembers. Even small tweaks are intentional. Crunchy toppings, cheese pulls, layered flavors, these aren't just taste decisions. They're neurological triggers designed to get you hooked. Your brain starts to associate Pizza Hut not just with food, but with comfort, reward, and relief. And that craving comes back faster than hunger ever could. But while your brain is busy lighting up from all that flavor science, something else might be seeping into your system, something you can't taste, see, or smell. Because next, we're exposing what's actually in the box. And once you find out what Pizza Hut uses in its packaging, you might think twice before tearing into your next slice. You open the box, steam rises, the smell hits you instantly, and your appetite follows. But what you don't see is the invisible layer between your food and the cardboard. That thin, waxy barrier may be doing more harm than any ingredient on your pizza, because Pizza Hut's packaging has been linked to toxic chemicals that could linger in your body for years. We're talking about PFAS, per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, often called forever chemicals. These synthetic compounds are added to packaging to make it grease-resistant, so your pizza doesn't soak through the box. Sounds harmless. Until you learn PFAS don't break down, not in the environment, not in your body. Once absorbed, they accumulate in your blood, your organs, even your unborn children. Multiple studies in recent years have detected PFAS in the wrappers and boxes used by major fast food chains. And yes, Pizza Hut has been on those lists. In fact, a 2020 investigation by Consumer Reports found that several fast food pizza containers, including ones used by Pizza Hut competitors, contained high levels of fluorine, a strong indicator of its presence. These chemicals have been linked to thyroid disease, immune system suppression, infertility, and cancer. Pizza Hut has made vague promises to phase these materials out by a future date, but there is no clear public timeline and no guarantees that the box you're holding right now isn't coated in substances that can seep into your food when exposed to heat or moisture. So while your cravings are being chemically triggered and your brain is riding a dopamine high, your body might be quietly absorbing something far more toxic, something you never agreed to eat. And the craziest part? Most people will never know, unless people like you start speaking up. If you've ever worked at a Pizza Hut, had a strange experience with your order, or noticed something that didn't sit right, we want to hear your story. Drop a comment below and tell us what you saw, what you tasted, or what you were told. Maybe your pizza came out half-cooked. Maybe your friend worked in the back and told you things they weren't supposed to. This is the place to say it. And if you're the kind of person who wants to know the truth, not the shiny version, but the real one, then hit that subscribe button. We're digging deep into the brands you thought you could trust. And the more people who subscribe, the harder it is for these stories to stay buried. So what's really in the box when you order from Pizza Hut? It's not just dough, cheese, and toppings. It's processed meats filled with chemicals you've never heard of. It's cheese stretched with wood pulp. It's flavor science crafted to hijack your cravings. And it's packaging that might leave behind more than just grease stains. It might leave behind toxic chemicals in your body. Behind the friendly branding and budget deals is a system built on cut corners, exhausted workers, psychological tricks, and ingredients designed to look real, but feel anything but. Pizza Hut doesn't want you thinking about these things. They want you focused on melted cheese and 2-for-1 deals. But when you pull back the lid, it's clear. The truth was never on the menu, and maybe that's the point. When a company spends more on advertising than on ingredient quality or worker protection, we have to ask, what else are they hiding? So the next time you're about to place that order, remember, every slice has a story. Some are cheesy, some are comforting, but some are meant to stay hidden.